I want to talk to you today about perimenopause and hormones and why is it, I just gave away my answer. Why is it so difficult for us to get answers when we're dealing with symptoms or when anything comes up going through perimenopause? And the main solution here, the main word that's a problem here is going to be hormones. Female hormones are the most complicated thing I've ever experienced in terms of education and in terms of trying to figure things out. I've been studying hormones for the last 4 years, and to be honest, I'm not sure that I will ever completely understand every nuance and every little thing about them. But ultimately, when you go to your family doctor, when you go to the ER, when you go to see any medical professional, even a lot of the times if you go to an OBGYN, a gynecologist, or someone who does specialize a bit more in women's hormones and women's health, it can be challenging to figure out what's going on with you. So if you're dealing with symptoms and you go to your doctor, which I dealt with in the past and a lot of my clients have experienced was something they did in the past too, they'll send you for blood work a lot of the times. They may send you for an ultrasound just to get a look at the area, to get a look at your uterus, your ovaries, and to get a look at what's going on inside. But ultimately, a lot of the times the issues that you're dealing with are missed with these things. Blood work, first of all, is comparing your numbers to a reference range. So a set of numbers that they've determined is when people are in this range, they should be normal. And when there's any hormone stuff involved, I've seen time and time again that this isn't always the case. If we think of thyroid, which is also a hormone, you could be perfectly within the reference range, but still have thyroid symptoms. And this is something I experienced in the past as well, where my doctor said, well, everything's fine. Your numbers came back as normal. There's nothing wrong with you. But ultimately, this is why I believe that we need to dig deeper. We need to figure out what's the cause of what you're dealing with. And when it comes to going through perimenopause, this is something that's often missed. If you're having really heavy periods, I've been talking about heavy periods a lot this week because a lot of the women that come to me, that's something they're dealing with. And what's been interesting is it's actually not just women in perimenopause, although I've seen it's very common around this age. I've had some women as early as 18, 16, 19, 20 that are all coming because they're having a really big change in their periods. And so it's like, why? What's different in your life that's causing this? Because when we're dealing with symptoms, the main thing that I like to dig into and ask is not to you personally, because you may not know, but to ask your body, what's getting in the way of you functioning properly? And most of the time, this is either there's something in the system that doesn't belong there. So that could be a toxin, that could be a chemical, a heavy metal. Plastic is a really big one that a lot of us are impacted with, even if we don't completely recognize we're coming in contact with it in so many different ways. You could change your water bottle, you could change your food containers, but we're still going to come in contact with plastics and so many other things. They're in our clothing, they're in a lot of the food products out there, which is kind of scary. So there's a lot of different ways that you're coming in with contact with these things that are going to interrupt and disrupt your hormones. And so if we can figure out what's in the body that doesn't belong there and what does the body need to help get rid of it, that's a really big step that can be really helpful for people. The second kind of question, it's a two-part question. What's there that doesn't belong there? So like I said, that could be metals, could be chemicals, could be plastic, also could be bugs, could be parasites. Parasites is something I've definitely seen a lot of lately, and they're brats. They cause a lot of problems. They can make your organs and glands not function properly, which ultimately can lead to hormone problems as well, which could be behind the heavy periods that women are dealing with. There's a lot of factors, is what I'm trying to emphasize here and help you understand. And so, if you're not getting the answers that you're looking for, you need to find someone who's going to help you dig deeper and figure out what's the cause. Because if we don't figure out what's the cause of the symptoms that you're dealing with, they're not actually going to go away. So, what are the things that are getting in the way? What are the things in your body that don't belong there? That's step one. Then I also want to ask and see what's missing. And a lot of the times, part one of that, so the things that don't belong there, can be the reason why there's things missing. Like I said, parasites are something that I've seen a lot of recently. Parasites can eat your nutrients. Parasites can eat your neurotransmitters in your brain. And so if there's nutrients that your body is lacking that it's not getting, and so it's not able to function properly, the parasites could be the reason why that's the case. So when we look at a hormone imbalance or things not working the way they should be, we need to figure out if there's some underlying infection, which is a big part of the what doesn't belong in the body. Because if parasites are eating your nutrients, it doesn't matter how much organic, great, amazing quality food that you put in there, you're not going to get the benefit of it because you're basically just feeding your bugs. Sorry to say. So this is kind of the two-step approach that I like to take with women when they come to me, or with any clients when they come to me, is testing the body to figure out what is there that doesn't belong and what's missing. Because ultimately, our bodies are designed to heal themselves. If you think about, if you cut your finger, you don't need to tell it to heal. You don't have to tell it what to do. But when would your finger not heal? If you were pouring chemicals on it every day, if you were constantly cleaning the floor with bleach, if you were stopping it from being able to clot and heal like it's supposed to, that's going to prevent it from healing. The same goes with your system. If there's something in there that's not allowing it to heal and do what it's supposed to do, it's never going to heal. You're going to walk around with this cut on your finger for years because you're preventing it from doing it. And this is not a matter of we're consciously going out and saying like, I'm going to disrupt my hormones, or I'm going to stop my body from being able to heal. It's just the environment that we're living in today. We're surrounded by so many things that aren't natural and that aren't meant to be there. And it's figuring out what we need to do to support our body to give it what it needs to get back into balance. Ultimately, that's the goal. If you're looking to get rid of hot flashes, if you're looking to get rid of really heavy periods, if you're dealing with migraines or allergies, or I could list off like a massive list of symptoms, but anytime there's symptoms, there's always a cause. And it's about figuring out what the body needs to get back into balance. Because if your body is in balance, you're not going to have the headaches. You're not going to have the heavy periods and the hot flashes. They're ultimately just like a text message from your body saying something's not working properly here, something needs your help. And when you can give it the help that it needs, you're not going to have the symptoms. Hopefully that makes sense. The way that medicine likes to look at things is, yes, they'll run tests for you to try and figure out if the work is not how it should be, or if they see something through an ultrasound in your system that doesn't belong there. But then the strategy and the solution that medicine looks at is their whole method is based on symptom management. So, what do we need to do? What do we need to give this person to stop the body from doing what it's doing? Whereas, from my perspective, we need to figure out, why is the body doing what it's doing that it shouldn't be? So, if you're just suppressing the symptoms, you're not actually dealing with, why is the body doing what it's not supposed to be doing in the first place? The other solution that often will come up with medication, and like, I've been there. I dealt with really heavy periods in the past as well. And I went to my doctor, and the first solution that they had was, let's put you on the birth control pill. And this is something I've heard a lot about recently from clients as well, is that's, let's put you on the birth control pill to help regulate your cycle. But ultimately, dumping hormones into the body is not going to fix things if there's a hormone imbalance, because there's a hormone imbalance because your body doesn't know how to deal with the hormones. So giving it more is not going to solve the problem. It can actually lead to a lot of side effects for people as well. There's massive changes in mood. For me, I had a TIA, which is like a mini stroke, which is scary and dangerous. There's a lot of different things that can happen. And it can change how you feel, who you are, or how you feel about who you are. I've actually heard of some people as well who were on the birth control pill for, decades, and they got married and they had kids, and then they got to the point where it was like, okay, I don't need the pill anymore. And they came off of it, and their personality changed so much in coming off of the pill that they realized that they weren't compatible with their spouse. It wasn't the person that they wanted to be with. Because hormones can change so much in how we express ourselves, in how we function on a daily basis, on how our mind works, on how so many different things work. And so there's a lot of things and there's a lot of stories. I mean, you don't have to believe me. You can look it up. There's a lot of stories that have come back from people who were on the birth control pill, side effects that people have had. There was a movie that was created by the woman, I forget what her name was. There was a movie that was created last year that talked about the business of birth control and how the impact that it has on a lot of people. So why am I talking about birth control? I just got distracted there. A lot of the times that's the method that medicine will go towards is what's a medication we can give you. Birth control, when we're in perimenopause and menopause, a really common one is bioidentical hormones or hormone replacement therapy, rather than asking, why is your body not producing the hormones that it needs? This could be estrogen, this could be progesterone, but ultimately, the problem here is often not a lack of quantity of hormones, it's an imbalance. So, if we can figure out why the body's not creating the proper ratio of hormones that it needs, this is another area where symptoms can be reversed and can be not a problem for you. So, there was a lot in this one today. I understand that. But if you're someone who's dealing with symptoms and you're going through perimenopause, or even if you're younger, but you're finding that your periods are really heavy, this is a sign from your body. And this is something that I can help you with. We test all of our clients. As I said, it's called nutrition response testing, or quantum reflex analysis is another name um, it's referred to, but it's basically about tuning into the body and seeing where is not in balance. Because if there's parts of your system that are not in balance, you're not going to function properly. And then we can figure out, what does the body need to get back into balance? Because when a body's in balance, there won't be symptoms. The symptoms aren't necessary. The message is just coming across to you because there's something that needs your support. So if this is something you've been struggling with, it could be the hot flashes, the heavy periods. I've heard so much about that the last few days. It could be the night sweats. It could be mood changes. I've heard, from a couple of men actually who've said that their wife is a completely different person leading up to their period. This is also something that's not normal, and it's something that's become normalized because so many women deal with this. But I'm sharing this because I want to help you understand that it doesn't have to be the case. You don't have to just accept it. I'm a woman, I'm in my 40s. Life is going to suck for the next 10 years, maybe 15. Once I hit menopause, hopefully things will be better. We don't have to live like that. We don't have to just accept that symptoms are a part of life. We need to start recognizing that they're a message and the body is trying to communicate with you. And the longer that you ignore them or dismiss them, the more symptoms are going to come, because the body's like, knock, knock. Hello? Hello? Hi. Are you listening? And when you don't listen, it gets louder. And eventually the alarms are going off all the time. And the body's like, listen to me. So we want to catch those messages and start paying attention earlier. And then we can start dealing with the issues when they're smaller rather than when they become a huge deal. So if you're dealing with symptoms, if you're dealing with anything in your health where you just feel like you're not getting answers or you're not finding the solution that you're looking for, I can help you with this. You can grab the link on my bio if you're on Instagram, or you can send me a message if you're watching this anywhere else. Let's connect. I would be happy to chat with you. We can figure out what's going on with you and what the next steps are for you to move forward towards getting healthier. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any questions, like I said, reach out. If you know anyone who's dealing with hormone crap, I'm sorry, it is crap. Please share this with them. I know that when I was going through the really heavy periods, like I got to the point where I went with the hysterectomy approach because that was all my doctor gave me as a solution. You can go on the birth control pill. We can use an IUD, which I probably will talk about that later at some point too. Or we can do a hysterectomy. And I knew that I didn't want children. So I thought, fine, take it. It's no big deal. But for a lot of women, it is a big deal. And also, what I want you to understand is that, like, cutting an organ out doesn't solve the problem. So we want to figure out what's going on. So if you are dealing with any of these things and you would like support, I'm here to help. If you know anyone who's struggling right now, share this video with them. And hopefully you enjoy your day. I will talk to you soon. And I am Kate McDowell from Aligned Natural Health.